for joining us for this COVID-19 City News Briefing from Monday, August 31st. Hope you all had a great weekend. We'll start with today's tests. These are system-wide numbers for Forest General, Merit Health Wesley, Semri, Moffitt Health Center, and Hattiesburg Clinic. 51,804 tests have been conducted as of this morning. 5,864 of those have come back positive. 45,556 are negative. Pending tests are down to 384, which is a good sign. In the hospital today, between Merit Health Wesley and Forest General, 68 people were positive for COVID. There's more than another 6 under investigation, but that is 6 under where we've been the last 2 weeks. And of those 68, 23 are in the hospital, which is also under where we've been over the last 2 weeks. You can kind of see the trend line, and if you look toward the end of this line, we actually got down to 63 hospitalizations yesterday. The number did bump back up today, but again, continuing to see sort of decreases over time in our hospitalizations. We hope that that trend continues. We did have 4 deaths reported over the weekend that were COVID-related, 3 in Lamar County, 1 in Forest County. Totals to date, 62 in Forest County, 29 in Lamar County. We send our condolences to all 4 of those families. Statewide today, only 274 new cases. Again, labs typically don't run at full strength over the weekend, and so we'll see how the rest of the week goes. 32 new deaths reported today. In terms of new positive cases, again, on a Monday, but still a good sign. 3 in Forest County. We see a -1 here for Lamar County, and again, when you see a negative number, that means it's kind of a data reconciliation. It's that a case that was attributed to Lamar County actually was in a different county, and so they bumped that over to the other county, which means the net impact for Lamar County today was negative. Even though there may have been a new positive case, there are more names taken off of the Lamar County ledger because they had the addresses attributed to the wrong county. But 2 for the metro area over the weekend. Forest County had 15 on Saturday and 6 on Sunday, and then Lamar County had 6 on Saturday, 6 on Sunday. So again, still seeing good signs in terms of infection rates, a lot smaller than they were, say, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Totals to date, 2,128 in Forest County, 1,437 in Lamar County. Our 5-day average, we are continuing to see a decline there after a little bit of an increase last week, and so Lamar County's under 10, Forest County approaching 10, so that's a good sign as well. Our inside 14-day number, this is the number we really watch because these are the number of positive tests that have come back in the last 2 weeks. And because COVID-19 typically has a lifespan of 14 days or fewer when it's in a person, unless there's an adverse reaction, this gives you a basic idea on how many active cases you could have in your community. In Forest County, because of the good weekend, we're down to 204. Lamar County's at 140. And continue to see, compared to where we were at the end of July, this has been a solid month for us in terms of getting those numbers down. And so week over week comparison to last week, a week ago Forest County was at 227 inside 14-day. Today they're at 204. Lamar County was just up 6 from last week. Still seeing a net decrease from a week ago in terms of overall active cases. And in hospitalizations, down 10 from last Monday and down 5 in ICU admissions from last Monday. Our goals continue to be protecting the vulnerable populations, people over the age of 60, people with underlying or chronic health conditions. These are the folks, if they get COVID-19, they're more likely to have an adverse reaction, go to the hospital, in the ICU, or worse. If we can do that, we can prevent overrun of the healthcare system by slowing the spread, and we want to continue prioritizing public health while giving the private sector the space to operate creatively. We continue to hone in on the widespread availability of testing, the wearing of masks, watching our own data, listening to all voices. And speaking of our own data, I wanted to go back and just review the month of August now that we're at the end here. It was a good month for us. Of course, August 1st, we were kind of at a new peak for us, and so had a lot of people that were infected. We had kind of feared the worst because you knew college students were moving in the next couple of weeks. You knew that K-12 was going to start soon, but some interventions were made in terms of the governor issued a statewide mask mandate, which brought all of our 2 counties into that fold. We issued the 10 p.m. rule for restaurants and bars in terms of in-house dining. Started the Mask Up campaign, but really a lot of this was just good personal responsibility and you and your neighbors making good decisions. And so just to review kind of how far we've come over this month. August 1st, we were at 475 inside 14 days. That's 475 active cases potential. That's the estimate of that. Today that number's at 204. Lamar County was at 345. They're now at 140. And so total for our two counties, we're at 820 inside 14-day on August 1st. That number's down to 344. Hospitalizations, we saw a decrease as well. August 1st, we had 80 people in the hospital. Today we had 68. And ICU utilizations were down by another 9. I will say this. We had 27 people who died in August due to COVID-19. And that's COVID related. And so, again, we go back to that whole thing is that, a perfectly healthy person doesn't have as much risk factor as someone who has an underlying chronic health condition or someone who is elderly. And that's why we have to continue. That's why we push protecting the vulnerable all the time. And so this is going to continue to be a threat as we go through the fall, especially when we get into flu season. It's incumbent upon us to make good personal decisions, and we'll talk about that more as we go into Labor Day weekend. Governor Reeves gave his briefing this afternoon. He did extend his mask order for 14 more days statewide. Right now that's set to expire September 14th. He extended all of his previous orders another 2 weeks. The one exception is that K through 12 extracurricular activities in terms of spectators could have up to 25% of capacity for the venue. I will say that some of our school districts and schools may opt to keep that limit at 2 per participant. And if they do that, we support them in doing that. Each school district and school has to make the decision they think is best in trying to keep their students and their students' families and other spectators safe. And so keep an eye on whatever school you follow or school district you follow. I know that Hattiesburg hosts the Little Brown Jug game on Friday, and so once we know what school districts are going to do in terms of the spectator rule, we will pass that information on to you. 32 days are left in the census, and our response rate is up to 55.5%, but we need that to get higher and to get higher faster. So if you have not filled out your census form, if you have not checked with your coworkers or neighbors or fellow church members, please do that. HattiesburgCounts.com is where you can fill out that census form. And in some city news, paving on North 38th Avenue began last night, went all night. They did get both the north and southbound lanes done. Tonight I think they're working on the medians. But if you live in this 38th Avenue area, 38th Avenue will be closed from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. If you need to get to your apartment or house, you can. Just approach the flagman, tell them where you're going. They'll direct you on how to get there. Otherwise, traffic will be rerouted on the 37th or 39th Avenues, depending on which direction you're going. And finally, our act of courage. We know last week brought Hurricane Laura to South Louisiana. And Jones Company are accepting donations for relief supplies today and tomorrow. You can drop those off at Corner Market. Things that they are looking for: ice, tarps, canned foods, dry goods, clothing, diapers, things like that. We know how people in other parts of the country stepped up for us 15 years ago, post-Katrina, and so we can do the same and pay it forward to another community in need. So thank you to Jones Company for organizing this effort, and if you have donations, please drop them at Midtown Corner Market today or tomorrow. As we start the week, remember to wash your hands, take care of yourself, wear a mask if you go out in public, do only what is essential, and remember you're safer at home. Have a good rest of the evening.